All right. Okay. Hi. Okay. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to Broad Ideas. Hi.
Oh, hey.
Hi. I've had a lot of caffeine. I'm going to talk really fast.
There's more coming.
What? More caffeine coming? Great. Today we have Skeet Ulrich, you guys. I remember in high school, I feel like it was in high school when Scream came out.
I don't remember.
I think
I was in 6th grade when Scream came out.
So how old?
You weren't even allowed to see it.
No,
How
it was like
much
the
younger are
first R-rated movie I saw.
Is it R-rated?
Yeah.
It's just a great
scary.
movie.
It's a great movie. What? How old were you? How much
It might
younger
have
are you
been
than
5th
me?
grade, actually.
How old are you?
Who are you?
Are you 34?
35.
You're 35 already? How did that happen?
Every year you get a new number.
You're 35 plus 5 plus. So we're 7 years apart, right? So if you were in 6th grade, I would have been
fifth
in
maybe. 'Cause
5th grade.
It was on VHS at that point.
I would have been in high school. That's accurate.
Yeah.
Just trying to fact check here.
Yeah, you did it.
In high school, I remember being like, oh my God, that dude is like so cute. We all felt that way.
Yeah, he was super hot.
Yeah.
Well, he still is.
He's also here today.
We'll tell
Speaking
him.
of which, so obviously from Scream, Riverdale, The Craft.
I love The Craft.
Yeah, it's a good one. Listen, speaking to our youth, his new series, Parish, on AMC, is what he is here to talk about. So let's bring him on in. We're so happy that you're here.
Thank you. I'm
Thanks
happy to
for
be here.
coming all the way out.
No worries.
I mean, and we both can say this, but like I've been fans for so long.
Oh, no way.
Oh yeah, like first crush vibes, like
What?
back.
Oh, yeah.
not, I mean, not
I think I had the same thing, by the way. So
With me.
with you,
with both of you.
yes. Well, you for me as well. No, that's so funny, but yeah, just forever. I'm like, seriously, like we're gonna get to talk.
Oh my God.
No,
Well, I
it's
hope I
so
live
cool.
up to it.
Yeah, so no pressure or anything.
pressure
but
at
like,
all.
don't fuck up.
Yeah, really. Right.
But there's just like, so we were reading a bit about like just you, your childhood. We like to
Oh my
get
God.
into it.
My journey.
Your
Dude.
journey.
Yeah.
And what a fucking journey.
Yeah.
I got a
Yeah.
little emotional reading it, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, being a mom and just thinking, like reading just what's even just on Wikipedia, it did evoke emotion in me.
Oh,
Where I
wow.
was like, oh wow, he's had a life.
Yeah, it's been an interesting one for sure.
Yeah.
Continues to be. I mean, I think, it's interesting though, because nothing ever, and maybe this is sort of the resiliency of youth, but none of it really sort of messed me up that bad. I mean, I remember having sort of a positive look no matter what was going on,
Yeah.
and a feeling of hope no matter what was going on. But now I look back sometimes and I'm like, that was really dumb to be hopeful.
But like,
But-
what do you attribute that hope to? Like what?
I don't know. Maybe just, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know if I just somehow knew how to live in the moment at those times, or I had a very good power of what would be the right way to phrase it? Well, I was able to ignore shit, for lack of a more flavorful term. I don't know. I mean, I definitely, my brother was there beside me the whole way. He's 10 months older.
10 months older?
10 months older.
Wow,
And he
twins.
went gray. He had like a streak of gray at 16 because he had essentially been my dad already for 10 years at that point. And so he, I don't know, he's always had this like, get up and work hard mentality and push through no matter what. And I think maybe some of it's that.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's like nature versus nurture. I was talking to someone about the fact that they had been through a lot of trauma and they had every reason to be a complete and utter fuck up in life, right? But they felt from, like you were saying, from early on, they just weren't. It didn't land on them the same way. And I do think that certain people are just kind of born with a different constitution.
Yeah.
Where some lands and some doesn't.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I see that in I have boy-girl twins.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, you
I
have one
have
of each.
the sociological
Right.
experiment.
Yeah.
And I mean, I see that regardless of them being twins or whatever, like I see that in their personality differences. And yet they were raised exactly the same.
Exactly.
Right.
It's
So
fascinating.
what is that?
Right.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, he definitely, like I was, despite, putting a little gloss on it just a minute ago, I had a lot of anger, And I see that in my son. I see, that built up tension and stuff. And not that, I mean, he's the sweetest, kindest soul, but with me, I get to see all sides of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm glad. I mean, I remember they were in first grade and I took him to a play date and he had been really tough on me, and I went to pick him up and the mom was like, "He is an angel." I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Well, not with me, not at all, blah, blah, blah." And she was like, "Well, that's because you're the safe spot.
You're the lightning
You're
landing.
the only place he can do that. Can't do it with friends, can't do it with teachers, can't do it with anybody except for you." And so, unfortunately, that's what you get from being the safe spot.
Yep.
So I understand in that way, but I had a lot of that as well. So I see that in him, and I'm probably more aware of it than anybody else would actually be. But yeah, I mean,
Was that your brother? Because the way my husband always puts it, because I'm his safe spot, right?
Yeah,
And my kids. And they say that that's actually the healthiest thing you can find in a child is if they act out at home, but other people say they're angels, that means that they feel safe enough to express themselves.
Right.
And that's part of really creating a well-balanced human is, right? My husband, though. No, no. But he's
On the
always
other
like,
hand.
he's like, lightning needs a place to land.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so thinking about that, it's true, right?
Yeah.
Whether you have anger, resentment, frustration, we always we're like, let it land here.
yeah.
So
yeah.
when you were a kid, was that your brother? Is that why he had
I would
the gray
assume
hair?
it was. Yeah, I mean, he's tough. He's really tough, and he was like always. I mean, he's always bigger than me and stronger than me, and so it was tough to really like. I'll never forget like being when he went to college, obviously a year ahead of me, and I went the next year, and we came back for like Thanksgiving time, and he was making fun of me about something. We were in the kitchen of my mom's house, and I was like, "Let's go outside." Stupidest mistake I ever made. And so, he steps outside. I took a swing at him. Next thing I know, I was in the air up against the garage door and falling to the floor. And I was like, "Oh, I'm never going to try that again." But yes,
you in your place.
I wanted him to be my safe place. And I guess for the most part, he really is. But I had to be careful about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also
was
didn't
safe.
have a problem putting you
Yeah.
in your place.
Yeah.
But I think that's good. I think it's good to have that balance. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I think it's true. I mean, I'm for sure my daughter's safe space because she's pretty well behaved. But this morning, oh my God, you guys, like she is having a hard time with something and she never acts this way. So when she does, I'm like, how do I navigate this? Like she's never really giving grief or whatever. And so it was like, if I lose my patience with her, she's so sensitive. And immediately, like, I literally won't even, she'll be like, "Why did you just yell my name?" And I'm like, I literally just said it in a different,
raise my voice.
No, I didn't even raise my voice. I said it in a different tone. And that like sets her off,
Yeah.
So I think as parents, and like you said, you raised twins on your own. Is that right?
For the most part, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
their mom sort of vacillated between being a part of it and then not, and then ultimately wasn't. So,
So they don't have a relationship with the mom, or
no, I mean, my son talks to her a couple times a month.
Okay.
My daughter hasn't spoken to her, and she saw her in this like about 6 months ago for the first time in 7 years.
Wow.
And it kind of went okay, and then it didn't. So they haven't talked since.
Okay.
So yeah.
I mean, that must have been being a young father and working and having twins. Like, how the hell did you do it?
That's insane.
That's insane.
I don't know.
Twins, one at a
yeah.
time is...
I have one on my. Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously she has a dad.
But
in a
you know
relationship,
how
but-
it is, right? Like
Yeah.
those little faces
Oh God.
and that energy Like I often joked with them when they were little. There are only 2 people on this planet who can get me up after a couple hours of sleep, and I'm smiling.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just love,
Yeah.
you know? And
Yeah.
I think maybe, you know, I definitely got to relive my childhood and redo it as on the other side of it. So I took full advantage of getting to do that. And, you know, I only worked in LA from the time they were born until I did Riverdale when they were like 15 or 16.
Okay.
Which was in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And I was doing 4 flights a week, 10 months of the year.
Wow.
So it was exhausting, but to backtrack, I mean, it was just them. It was just the desire to be with them and to you know, be everything I never got. And I don't know. I mean, it was definitely tough, you know. I mean, I had a couple times I had to hire nannies. I did the show Jericho for a couple seasons, and I hired a nanny for like a year and a half at that point. And then I hired one again when I headlined another show here for like 9 months. I mean, I had occasions where, you know, I had the power at that time to get shows to move to LA if they wanted me. They had to come shoot here. I don't have that anymore.
I don't think
Too
anyone
many
does,
people are
really.
doing TV. But yeah, I would go shoot a pilot somewhere, and it was typically around spring break time. So they would come, or my mom would meet me there and help
Oh,
take
your
care
mom
of them.
has
Yeah.
helped? That's great.
Yeah. So it was, you know, but for the most part, I stayed here. Killed my film career, you know, pretty much at that time.
Because you put them first, is that what you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, TV was, you know, I was fine doing that, and it was stable, and
Yeah.
you know, and you know, the parts were interesting that I was able to get and stuff, but yeah, I don't know, it was a lot, and it it never ends.
No.
It never ends. So you know, I mean, it's certainly a lot easier than it was when they were, you know, needed me every second of the day.
Right.
I wanted to change my name from Dad. I told them, I'm changing my name. I'm no longer
hear it
Dad.
again.
I don't want to hear the word Dad. But, you know, it's such a blessing. I mean, truly blessed to be in a profession where I have that ability.
Yeah.
Where I can make enough money that I can go, you know what, I'm going to take a little time off.
Yeah.
You know, all those things. I mean, I think, you know, I don't know. I was more blessed than it sort of felt like in the moment, I guess, with the exhaustion. But I still knew how amazing it was.
Yeah, I think that makes the difference from like people, you know, it's the gratitude and like.
Yeah.
Well, the love too.
The love.
Like,
yeah,
well,
and it's
that's
reflected
number one.
back at you. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Sure.
I mean, it is the greatest feeling. And I mean, to this day, we're so tight, and,
so
you know,
cool.
and they are so caring and loving and supportive, and yeah.
it makes you a super chick magnet too.
Really?
Just
I
that,
wish.
like, you know, like that single, that like the dad that has their kids on.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, he's.
Well, here's the difference.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I know dudes, okay, that are like, I put my kid first and they're the most important. And then you're like watching.
And you're like,
there,
no, you
and I'm
don't.
like,
You
you
see
don't
that it
fucking
doesn't add up
really
to
do
the
it.
No,
Like,
you
words.
don't.
you're just
Yeah.
saying it and you think you do it, but there's a difference. I'm like,
Yeah.
like a parent like me who like knows what it's like to actually put your child
Yeah.
first and witness that. You're like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I was always of the mind, you know, I never wanted someone else to raise them.
Right.
And
Right.
so, and I had been around Hollywood enough to see that circle of, you know, these kids who their parents are well-to-do, their parents are guilty, they're not with them all the time. The nanny will never say no because they'll get fired. And these kids are just assholes.
Yeah.
And they're so entitled. And I was like, I would never. So we went the public school route, and, you know,
Where'd they go?
Yeah.
they were at Carpenter right down the
Oh,
street.
yeah. We almost went there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
And then
That's a
I
great school.
did briefly my daughter went to 6th, 7th, and 8th at I think it's a sort of private school. It's Laurel Hall.
Yeah.
Oh,
we-
yeah. Great.
You know, like
We know
low
that.
price
Our
private
best friend
school.
went there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Great school for her.
Yeah.
My son hated it. Like he
Yeah.
thought those kids were entitled. And
Oh God,
Really?
yeah,
stick them somewhere
I know.
else.
Put them in
it is-
Campbell Hall and see, or Harvard Westlake and see.
See, yeah.
But so he wound up going to Walter Reed.
That's where I went.
Did you really?
Yes.
No way.
Yeah.
Which is a phenomenal school. He didn't get into the
magnet.
science magnet part of it
Yeah.
because
I
of the
didn't.
way he transferred in and the lateness of it.
Yeah.
But I had heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, that they put more kids in the Ivy Leagues than Harvard Westlake does.
What?
Walter Reed?
Yeah.
Wait, that's good to
That
know
science
because
program,
that's
yeah.
what
That's your next school, right?
Yeah, that would be our next school. But I hear there's like so much fighting and vaping and all of that.
The
which
vaping, I
guess
think, is
gonna
worldwide.
Be,
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
unfortunately.
You're not gonna.
but-
Yeah, that's gonna be everywhere.
Were you like? For me, I'm terrified because
I was scared,
a
yeah.
hellion at that age, and like that's when it all started.
Yeah.
Were you like a good kid, or did you?
I was really good.
Were you?
Yeah, I was really good.
That's awesome.
I didn't drink. And my brother and I were alone from the time we were 6. So we had no one to like supervise. And we chose, I don't know, for whatever, maybe it was just because we had to. What
do you
but,
mean you were alone? So you were 6 and 7 years old.
Well, my brother and I were kidnapped when we were 6.
Yeah,
for
but
like
I just
4
wanted you to
years.
see if you would talk about it.
Yeah.
I'll talk about it. I mean, it's a weird sort of thing. But my birth father, who we didn't know, took us in the middle of the night. All my family are in NASCAR,
Okay.
race car drivers, race car family. And in the 70s, that wasn't like, you didn't really make money at it, but it was the family business. And at that time, you had to get to the track on a Wednesday, and the races were on a Sunday. And if that was outside of the time we were in Virginia, if that was outside of a travel zone, we saw them Tuesday. And then he came in the middle of the night, and
Did you know him
in
at this
Virginia,
point?
I didn't know him at all,
Okay.
and stuck my brother and I in a U-Haul and drove us to Miami, and gave us to this woman he was married to, but he was never there. She hated us.
What?
So we wandered the streets of Miami. We went to Biscayne Elementary for like 6 months. And then he took us from Miami to upstate New York to Hyde Park, Poughkeepsie area.
Uh-huh.
And same thing, lived to somebody else. Like, I think he was like studying at the Culinary Institute or something near there. Wanted to be a chef at that moment. And then it just kept going for like 4 years.
So you were without your mom for 4 years.
Yeah.
They couldn't find you.
No.
Oh my God.
They couldn't fucking find you.
No.
That's so
See,
And
this
the-
is why I was getting emotional reading about it.
Like, as a
I'm
mom.
a mom.
Like,
I'm like,
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
took my boys.
I know.
Like,
Oh, no.
how did, like, I have a million questions, but 4 years without your mom, why did he do that? What was his reason?
I'm not sure, to be honest. And then there was one point, this woman he was married to, he stuck us with her parents, who were brutal. He was like, her dad was like an ex-Navy captain. And he forced us to eat what he called square meals, which meant that you picked the fork up, it went down to the plate, it went out, so you didn't show greed. It went out, it went up to mouth level and in, and then down. You chewed 32 times per bite, and they watched and count. And if not, you got the belt. And so, I mean, they were brutal. They were brutal. But the whole time I was dying when my mom got me, I had open heart surgery. I had a 25% chance of surviving. And so I was coughing up blood, and all this stuff. And they wouldn't let me see a doctor. And I mean, it was whatever. It was rough.
It was whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's whatever.
But then when my mom found us, she was still on the racing circuit and had remarried a race car driver while we were with, my dad, so to speak. And so same routine, like we barely got to see her. Now, I don't fault her in the slightest. She was a single mom. I mean, that marriage lasted 3 years. So she was mostly a single mom and, trying to make her way in a very masculine industry to not only pay the way, but suddenly she's saddled with a $20,000 open heart surgery that we have no insurance and no money.
Shit.
So she did her damnedest. And, she had my brother at 19, me at 20. divorced
Wow.
at 21, I think. And, so God
Did they
bless
know
her.
when you were born? Was it like a chromosome thing, or
No,
was
it
it
was 2 birth defects, but I guess
Yeah.
they didn't know, or they didn't have the technology to know at that time. One of them is pretty typical. It's called a VSD, a ventricular septal defect, and the ventricular wall is one of the last things to form in utero. If you think about it, you're not breathing oxygen at that time, so that wall delineates oxygenated from deoxygenated blood in the bottom part of the heart. And so it's one of the last things to form, and if you're premature, it typically doesn't fully form yet. And so a lot of kids premature are born with that
My
murmur.
son has that.
Yeah. And it will slowly, typically heal.
That's what they say. Yeah.
Wow.
But I had to have the patch put in, and then I had a mitral valve issue as well that was really the cause of most of the problems. But
Do you remember it? Like, do you remember?
I do remember it.
You do?
Yeah, I do remember it very well. I remember waking up in the operating room.
What?
Yeah, and there was a guy at the end of my bed with balloons and flowers, and he looked at me and he said, "You passed with flying colors." And then I was out, and I woke up in the ICU, and I asked my mom, like, "Where's the guy with that?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" Now, it could have been morphine. Could have been a guardian angel.
Stop
It definitely wasn't a guy with balloons and flowers in an operating room.
I like the
I like the
angel.
angel. For sure. I'm like, oh, yes, that was your
Yeah.
We fully said, we're like, absolutely.
Yeah. When I'm with dudes, it's morphine, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely morphine.
We're like
you guys
angels.
are like,
Yeah, we're like,
angels, for
no.
sure. Spirit guides.
Ghost
Yeah.
angel. Support for Broad Ideas comes from Quince. The weather's getting warmer, so it's time to say goodbye to jackets and sweaters and hello to shorts and tees. I wanted to update my wardrobe for the long haul without spending a fortune. Luckily, I found Quince. Now I've got a lineup of timeless pieces that keep me looking effortlessly chic year after year, like premium European linen dresses, blouses, and shorts from $30. Washable silk tops, timeless, 14-karat gold jewelry, and so much more. The best part, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering directly with top factories, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. I love that. I love my t-shirts from Quince. Yes, of course, I love my sweaters, but like I said, it's getting warmer, so I am relying on these comfy, cute tees. Get warm weather ready with Quince. Go to quince.com/ideas for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/ideas to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/ideas. Support for Broad Ideas comes from IQ Bar. I love IQ Bar products. I love waking up in the morning and knowing I can wake my brain up, whether I have their bars, their brain and body boosting bars to be exact, or their mushroom coffees. Start each day right with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. Their ultimate sampler pack includes all 3. Get 7 IQ Bar flavors, 4 IQ Mix flavors, and 4 IQ Joe flavors. And today our listeners get an exclusive offer of 20% off plus free shipping. Just text IDEAS to 64,000. The Ultimate Sampler Pack is a great way to try all IQ Bar products and flavors. All IQ Bar products are entirely free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial sweeteners. IQ Bar makes the #1 brain and body nutrition bar, hydration mix, and instant coffee in the US. Over 10,000 5-star reviews and counting. Refuel smarter with IQ Bar's Ultimate Sampler Pack. That's 7 IQ Bars, 4 IQ Mix Sticks, and 4 IQ Joe Sticks. And now our special podcast listeners get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus get free shipping. To get your 20% off, just text IDEAS to 64,000. Get your discount. Text IDEAS to 64,000. That's IDEAS to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details. God, but that's how crazy to go through all that. And then your mom, like the whole thing. And then you had a good relationship with your mom?
We have a great relationship.
You
I
still
mean, we've definitely had our moments.
Sure.
And primarily of my doing, and I think probably a way to vent without knowing I was really venting.
The lightning landing.
Yeah, there we go again.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it was in my early 20s mostly that all that sort of went down. But she's amazing. She's an incredible force, and a pioneer, and just an incredible woman, and so full of love and happiness and gratitude, and she's the most giving human being I've ever met.
I want her on.
I have so many questions.
You should.
I'm just like, how did she survive? Because literally my heart
I
is like,
know.
I
She
want to
has
go
2
back
sons.
and adopt you at that time.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that feeling I'm sure you know as a parent. It's like thinking about that little boy going through the operating and not having your mom.
my God,
Or like,
I know.
come on.
I know.
Yeah.
But going back to like how you're saying how you don't feel like, lack of a better way to put this, but like super fucked up from like everything that happened, right?
No, I mean, I went through a lot of therapy.
Sure.
I went to NYU, I that's a whole other story how I wound up getting to go there. But
You
my
wanna
mom
tell us?
remarried when I was 19.
Okay.
They're still married. He
Oh,
is the
good.
reason I sit here today.
Really?
He is 100%. And I mean, my mom as well, but he was the one, like when my mom met him, he was worldwide CEO of Saatchi & Saatchi Advertising for a long time. And they had the Procter & Gamble client, and they sponsored my uncle's race team. Tide did. My uncle drove for Tide. So my mom met him through that. They fell in love, got married. And, when I decided at 18, 19 that I wanted to be an actor, that was not really, didn't go over that well. And in a NASCAR family. And I had that thick Southern accent and all this post-traumatic stress. And, and they were like, okay, Brad Pitt. But he, having lived a life in New York City in advertising and going to every play he could get his hands on and all this, was a real proponent of the arts, and said, I got your back. He's like, if you get in, I'll pay for it. I'll get you a place. And they did. And, and so if it wasn't for that training, I know I wouldn't sit here. Maybe I would have sat here for like a few months of my career, but I would not have had a career.
I mean, didn't David Mamet?
He didn't find me. The literature suggests that he discovered me in some way, but
so like the whole thing, and then to be like, and then found by David Mamet. I'm like, what the fuck?
No big deal.
he
No
ran
big
the
deal.
school that I got into.
Oh, okay.
And William
Yeah.
H. Macy, Bill Macy. They were they were the acting teachers of it. But
Oh, wow.
I got in through. I didn't meet them first and then get in. I got in.
You
and
got
then,
in and
then
then-
I met them.
yeah.
Right.
So he didn't discover me. He taught me.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, which is incredible.
Wow.
So yeah.
It's been a ride.
Yeah, it's been a ride.
How do you feel about your daughter acting?
I love it for her, for the art of it.
Yeah.
The business part of it scares the crap out of me. And, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard
Yeah.
for me, the business part of it. I mean, like, I hate it.
Right.
I don't like it.
I don't think I've ever met an actor that does.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I guess not. Some of them seem to embrace it though, or maybe they hide it really well and have the same, issues. I like doing it.
Yeah.
The rest, fuck off with it. Like,
It's
I
really
can't handle
rough.
it.
It is.
It's rough. It's ugly. It's it's not fair. It's everything.
Yeah.
You have to have such a strong foundation, and I think, but at least like your daughter having you and you've been through it and like helping guide, like all that shit that's like you can't take personally, or getting them used to disappointment and all of that, but how to navigate it. I think it's an opportunity too.
I think so too. I mean, it's a tough world right now. I mean, for anybody in this business, it's really hard. I mean, it's I haven't worked in a year and a half. Granted, the strike was quite a major chunk of that, but like it's you just never know.
Right. But you have a show that just
I have a
came
show
out.
that just came out. Yeah, that's
but you
doing
shot it a
well.
while ago?
We shot it. We had finished November of 22.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Parish.
and then they held it. Yeah.
Okay.
With Giancarlo, who he guest taught Mamet's class a couple times.
No.
when I was
That's
there.
wild.
Yeah.
So many full circle things.
I
It
know,
feels
really
like.
wild.
Have you ever thought about writing your show or movie? Because it's like NASCAR and
I know. I wrote my mom's story. Well, initially it was
did?
going to be both our stories, sort of picking up at 10 when she finds me, and then kind of following this woman who figures out how to save her son's life in this masculine world. I set it up that her husband dies in the very beginning in a racing incident, and which is really just to set up how she was married, but he had nothing to do with it,
Right.
and
She
we
was
didn't have
alone.
any money or anything, so it was just sort of a kickoff point. I was doing a film at the time, and that I was deeply writing it with Tom Hanks that Zemeckis was producing, and Image Movers fell in love with the script and got behind it and gave extensive notes and we rewrote it and all that, and we went out late in the COVID buying spree, just to a few people, but we were late and everybody had their slate, so we've kind of sat on it since then. Only now are we starting to, because I guess, and I'm only know because I'm told this, that once you go out to whatever degree and you don't get picked up by somebody, you got to sit on it for a little bit,
Right.
and let the cycle run out, and then you can come and try and
Right.
present it again.
So many rules.
Yeah, I know.
So many stupid rules.
So many stupid
So many
rules.
stupid
I
rules
know.
and stupid.
But you know what? It's interesting. I'm an actor. I'm not a writer.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's not.
Yeah.
I would love rewriting. I love fixing material and helping material, but
It's not your number
it's
one.
not my thing. And it's and it was a lot to put this all on the page and to write outlines for 3 seasons and all this stuff. And for me, I always saw it as a 2-hour movie. And so I didn't know where to go after 90 pages or 100 pages of where does this go now?
Yeah.
So I'm not hell bent on making it happen or anything. I think it was nice for my mom to see the dedication to telling that story.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So I don't know. I have a couple pitches coming up in the next few weeks, so who knows?
Who knows? It'd be so cool at one point if.
Your angel with the balloons.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
angel with the
really.
balloon. No, I'm like, if your daughter
Wait,
could
I
play
wanna
your
know
mom,
I know.
Right?
Yeah, I wrote a
Oh,
part for her
yeah.
too. Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
would be really interesting.
that would be
There you
so
go.
cool.
Yeah.
What? How did your mom find you guys?
Good question.
They found they got a private detective,
Okay.
and I guess he found us. And yeah, it was weird. It was weird, and nothing ever happened with my dad. There were no charges or anything, and I didn't really. I saw him. He showed up at my brother's high school graduation in a gorilla outfit.
What?
Was he mentally ill?
No. Now I
you
wonder.
Yeah. Like, wait.
Exactly. No, I'm not sure. You hit the nail on the head. And then I didn't see him that at all. And then internet came to Manhattan, I guess probably 5 years later when I was there, and it wasn't Google, but I searched for him and found his phone number, and he was living in Baltimore, and I suggested he come to New York and we have lunch, and he did. We spent about an hour together, talked about nothing.
Really?
He was really into, talking about my uncle, who at that time was at the height of his racing career. He was a very famous race car driver at that time, and that's kind of all he wanted to talk about.
Wow. That's interesting.
And I wasn't going to press him on anything or
Like, why'd you kidnap me, Dad?
Yeah, what the fuck?
What about that part?
Yeah. So, and then not long after Scream, when I was 27, which was my 7th or 8th film, I got to be offer only here, and I bought 500 acres in Virginia and moved there and lived there for 6 years. And
that's
I made
cool.
15 movies during that time there. But
Do you still have it?
no,
That sounds heavenly right
it
now.
was amazing.
I know.
I
Like, why are you
know.
here?
I know. Yeah.
We're like, why?
It was incredible. But I took a year off when the kids were born and got to know the area I bought in, which was a very small town north of Charlottesville, Virginia. And it was so racist.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I am not raising kids here.
Yeah.
That's
So-
very
That's
important.
you know what?
Yeah.
That's a big reason.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's. I mean, yeah. But literally the day before I took my first TV job ever, this show called Miracles, in like 2002, and the day before I was moving the family back out here, he showed up at my door on this farm. My dad did, and I remember answering the door, and I was like, and the first thing I said to him is, "How'd you find me?" I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Right.
He had this little Indian girl with him, not Native American, Indian, and who he had, it was like his 6th wife and her daughter or something. And he was like, she had a camp near here, and I sort of pieced together from an interview you had done that it must be in this area. And so I asked the sheriff if he knew where you lived, and he pointed me right here. Well, after he left, I called the sheriff's office, and I was like,
Thanks,
look,
dudes.
you may not
Yeah.
know who I am. You probably don't give a damn who I am, but never give my address out to people,
Right.
to strangers.
No.
Like, please.
Wow.
And
insane.
so, I don't know. I was like, do you want to come in? You want a glass of water or something? He was like, well, we're not going to stay that long. And that was it. I was mad. I was really mad because all the work I had done to get through everything that I'd gone through with him and all this stuff. And then he just shows up nonchalantly and like doesn't even want to hang out. I was pissed.
He's so I'm so curious, like such a character study on your biological father. 'Cause,
Yeah.
it's so interesting to me. Like you said,
Yeah,
like to
what's his
show up,
deal?
like why?
I
Like,
know.
What is 6th wife showing
I
up?
know.
This meeting with you and just talking about your famous uncle. Like I
Yeah.
just think about people.
Him. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just think about him.
I just think about him
Yeah.
nightly. It's really weird. But like what? It's so crazy to me. And
Yeah.
but that's what I'm always thinking is like more people you encounter and like you hear these stories and you're just like people can be so different.
So different. And then
Yeah.
also I'm like, I have friends that have never been married.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Fantastic people.
Mm-hmm.
How did he get married 6 times?
I know. That is a very good question.
It's always people like that where you're like, you got
Yeah.
another one? Like,
Yeah,
how does that work?
I don't know.
It's wild.
Yeah, I know. That's
You've
really
been
weird.
how many times have you been married?
Twice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Following in his footsteps slowly.
No, I'm
Slower
not going to
train.
get there.
4 more.
You're almost there.
Are you guys single?
That would be expensive, 4 more marriages.
It would be.
Yeah.
It would be.
Expensive.
Well, I hear divorce is expensive.
It definitely can be.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine.
I'd imagine
It'd be pricey.
it's not cheap.
Yeah. I don't. Could you imagine those 6 times going through all that?
Well, I remember when I was
I don't
18,
even know, yeah.
Something happened, and I said to my mom, like, well, you don't think I'll get married? She goes, oh, no, I do a few times. I was like, what?
Your mom said that?
Of you. She said
me.
You know
that.
what though? My
A few
mom,
times.
My mom's on her 3rd marriage.
My mom's on her 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom's on her 3rd.
Is
Yeah.
she?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, but you say never been married. Like I've never been married. I've been in very
Gotcha.
long terms.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like, I've been in love.
I did it
guys.
right. No, I mean, like I've
Yeah.
had a boyfriend before you guys. But like, yeah, I'm like, you know what? I think I took the right
Yeah,
route.
but that's different. You're not the girl that's like, you didn't come into the world being like, I want to be
I was
married.
born
Right,
wearing
yeah.
a wedding dress.
Yeah, you were not
I
that.
popped out with
you
a veil
know?
on.
But there are some girls that come in that are like, I was made, to, like,
Yeah.
I want to get married. I want a husband. Like, you've always been
There's a track.
relationship girl, but not like, I need to get married.
Yeah, you're not traditional
No.
No.
in that regard.
Not at all.
Which is
Yeah.
good. I mean, look, I don't necessarily think I'll get married again. I'm down to find someone to spend the rest of my life with for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I mean, if it's important to them and we're in love,
Right.
okay.
That's
You know,
nice. I think that's a nice
Yeah, I don't hold
mentality.
any sort of.
What if you were the guy that was like, no, like I have to get married, like the wedding,
right,
and you have the
right.
vision, and you go into
That would
it
be
like
really interesting, actually.
You're like,
I don't think that
my binder.
I don't think that movie's
right
been
the
made.
reverse of like the guy who's always
Oh my god, you got to start
oh my
writing
god,
this.
like
That is
27
genius.
tuxes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, ever since I was 3.
Ever since I was 3.
I just had this dream.
Notebook.
Oh
of
my
pictures.
God, please write that.
Do you know how many times?
Even as a short film, it'd be
Seriously.
hysterical.
Okay, we just
Yeah.
created something,
Yeah,
so we're
I'm
doing great
down.
here. But okay, so Olivia told me
What I tell you?
you were engaged though, again,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
I
She
just
was
tell
giving me
her
tidbits.
things.
She did a
Yeah.
deep dive.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she was like, "Oh my God."
Yeah,
Just kidding.
I was. I'm glad that didn't work out.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't spill any tea on this microphone, but yeah, that was a bad thing. Well, the second marriage was a bad idea too.
I don't mean to laugh.
Yeah, no,
But you're
trust me,
smiling.
I'm
You're
laughing.
too.
It was a really bad idea that I knew I shouldn't do and allowed to happen. I had called it off 4 or 5 times,
What?
and
Oh, wow.
But you
and then
still
I
went through
still
with
went
it.
through with it, and then it didn't last much longer after
Okay, it
we
was a
did do
quick-
it. Yeah,
Quick little.
yeah.
This episode of Broad Ideas is brought to you by Maybelline. For over a century, Maybelline has provided accessible makeup to give everyone the self-confidence to express themselves. As the #1 makeup brand in the world, Maybelline has the platform and the power to make an impact from the inside out. That's why they've created Brave Together, an initiative designed to help those facing anxiety and depression by funding free professional one-to-one support so that no one has to struggle alone. Mental health challenges like anxiety or depression can be so difficult to manage on your own. I know this from personal experience. It's really nice to think that you don't have to go through these things alone and you can talk to someone. Have you ever noticed a friend struggling and not knowing what to do or say? Maybelline New York created the Brave Talk training to help people navigate mental health conversations with their friends. It's brave to ask for help. Let's be brave together. Maybelline is committed to donating $10 million to NGO partners and providing free access to one-to-one professional support to 3 million people by 2025 so that no one has to struggle alone. If you or someone you know is experiencing anxiety or depression, Maybelline New York is funding free confidential support. Text TOGETHER to 741-741 or visit Maybelline.com/bravetogether to learn more.
How did you convince yourself after calling it off 4 times to do it? Did you kind of know, like, I'm going to get out of it at some point, or did you actually convince yourself you were in?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think I was, there were things that were going on that really hurt me. The way she treated my kids.
Oh, kill her.
No,
Yeah.
I want to kill her.
Yeah. And I would, and then I've always been open to, what someone else is going through and to giving them the benefit of the doubt. And I guess I continued to do that and bought into the BS. Mm-hmm. And then after continuing to happen, it was just like, all right,
Yeah.
you've pulled
All
the
right,
wool
let's
over
get
my
married.
eye. Yeah, exactly. All right,
Okay.
I love you.
Let's do this.
But yeah, I don't know. I think I've always wanted that nuclear family so desperately
Right.
that I was trying to put, square pegs in round holes all the time and it just never was right.
Well, and you always had your kids involved in all of these things.
I mean, that's the thing. I always had love. Mm-hmm. So with them, I always had love in my life.
Right.
And so the rest was kind of like, well, it would be great if,
Right.
but not necessarily, mandatory.
I think I have that same mentality because she's
You
always like,
think you 1,000%
I do though.
do.
I know, because everyone's always like, whatever. And it's because you
Yeah.
have a kid and she's everything and we're always together and all of it. I'm like, I don't really have this need.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's true, but I have never thought of it that way because you have this the greatest love you could ever experience, right?
Yeah,
And so the other stuff, you're like, yeah, but
yeah. If it doesn't now, I'm like, if it doesn't fit, whatever, I'm fine.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I think it's exactly that. And it's it's in my mind the only unconditional love a parent for a child.
Right.
Yeah.
It is. I mean,
I know.
Bananas.
child for parent, it isn't even.
It's pretty
Because I don't unconditionally love my father, clearly, or
Yeah.
But
It's
that
relationship.
love is
but you do have that love for your stepdad.
I do, yeah.
So it's just
absolutely.
relationship, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it doesn't have to
Good
be like
point.
someone biological. It's the
But they say, like, statistically, they say that even if a kid has a really inadequate parent, that they still would choose their biological. Statistically, that
Really?
kid,
Wow, interesting.
still wants to be with their biological. And I've seen that because I've witnessed a lot of like addiction and stuff like that. And you see that the kids, no matter what the circumstances are, they'll be like, no, keep me here with this.
Wow.
Like they don't want out. They
Yeah,
want
yeah.
their mom or their dad, you know?
Yeah.
So it's tricky.
I think it's age too, though. Like, I don't think like
Yeah.
you sitting here would be like, I'd choose my biological over my
Yeah,
stepdad.
no, you're certainly,
because you're an
yeah.
adult.
Right.
Yeah.
But still, but like going, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's interesting. And I do see, and you do wonder, because like you see parents that might be a little mentally unstable and the kids
Yeah.
are still like, well,
Oh.
attached.
Yeah.
They will
Yeah, I mean, that's a
attach.
tough thing, though. I think, like, you know, for me, I saw so much craziness that the bar for crazy for me was so high that, like, the shit these women were doing, I was like, oh, yeah, whatever.
It's normal.
And it's crazy shit. And I'm like, oh, well, that's nothing.
Yeah.
What else you got?
We literally, like, I've experienced like certain levels of narcissism in
Yeah.
my life. And so, like, Olivia and I had a conversation like a couple years ago or something, like where she experienced it for the first time and it didn't even like register with me or affect me because I had been exposed to it my whole life.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, yeah, it's
I'm
this.
like, she's like, why is this not affecting you? I'm like, what? Like, what's affecting me?
That's
But it's,
exactly what
you know,
I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like you get so, it's like a pattern, you're trained or whatever it is, so things just don't affect you the same way.
Yeah.
But it becomes normal.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
though, too, like with the women, I just heard this, and I think this is so freaking fascinating, that women equate love with oxytocin, right? The
Okay.
hormone that's released. So that happens when we make love. That happens when we feel all of those great feelings. Not men.
Interesting.
They associate love with a stress hormone. I was like, no wonder. You always see the craziest girls with like the sweetest men. Like there's a hormone that's released in men that stresses them out, and that's what they
Cortisol?
equate. I don't think it's cortisol. It's something else.
Yeah.
Everyone always asks when you say that, they're like, cortisol?
I don't.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's the only one we know.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
know 3
It's like,
hormones.
yeah,
I
exactly.
don't think so, but something along those lines where I'm like, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Why men have a higher threshold for,
Adaptability.
we'll call it adaptability.
Right.
Or you've just been through it with
That's
many
so
people
wild,
as a
though.
female.
Isn't it?
And that's
kinda-
built in.
Right.
It's in our DNA.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
I wonder why.
I know.
I don't know.
There's
I'm
a
just-
great book called A Natural History of the Senses. This woman, Diane Ackerman, wrote about the evolution of each of our senses.
Really?
I like it.
And it might be,
Yeah.
it sounds like up your
oh,
alley.
yeah.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah.
She's like, wait.
Well,
tell me
because
more.
it makes our choices make sense when you find out those little things and you're like, oh, okay. So I'm not just completely
Deranged or whatever. Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
You're like,
and-
I'm giving every man an excuse that it's okay to be with the crazy ass
yes.
Yeah.
ladies.
It was funny because I was talking to a friend and I told her that, and she goes, oh, so you just gave me permission to rage text him. And I was like, no. I'm not saying intentionally
Right,
stress
yeah,
the guy
yeah,
out.
yeah.
And she was like, I heard.
I can be
He
crazy.
will love me more.
That's so funny.
She's like, great.
So what you're saying
So what you're saying is I should rage text. I was
That's
like,
funny.
no.
We got to get Oprah on this. Let the world
my God,
know.
Yeah.
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 write a book.
And
Oh my
I'm
gosh, so
curious.
Yeah.
I'm curious. We're going to ask you some funny stuff.
Oh,
Not all funny.
Some funny, some not funny.
I like
Yeah.
the title of your broad idea.
Broad ideas.
I dig it.
You know, wordplay.
Ta-da.
If you're starting your own nudist colony, what are your rules?
No clothes.
Welcome to Broad Ideas.
Thanks for being here.
No clothes and no dudes.
There you go.
Those are pretty practical rules.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be stressful.
Yeah, a lot of
A lot of stress.
So,
yeah.
What's more attractive, intellect or sense of humor?
Ooh, wow, that's a tough one.
I know.
Oh man, I think sense of humor.
Yeah.
I think it goes further, and I think you have to be very smart to have a good sense of humor.
I agree.
Yeah.
True.
'Cause I'm hilarious. What was your favorite song in high school?
Oh wow, favorite song. Man, this is gonna get ugly. Me and like two friends were the only punk rockers in my high school of, rednecks and farmers. Probably one of the cult songs,
Yeah.
at that time. Or I would say Skinny Puppy, but nobody knows Skinny Puppy anymore. And so yeah, I don't know song wise though. I never remember the name. I was just saying this to somebody last night. I never remember the names of songs.
Right.
Me
You
neither.
just sing them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know
We
what
have a
they're
thing
called.
going where
You're free to sing.
yeah, you can sing it. Yeah, if you
I
want
actually
to sing
charge.
it.
Yeah. What's the best sound in the world?
I love you.
Oh, that's
like
so
that.
sweet.
Yeah.
Biggest panty dropper.
As if I wear panties, or as
Sure,
if
you don't wear
what may
panties.
make
Let's hear
someone drop.
both. I like both.
I
options.
think when somebody is not self-conscious, when they're outside themselves on a regular basis, when they're aware of other people more than themselves, I find that incredibly attractive.
Yeah.
I think it's why, like, you go in a restaurant, and for me, like, the waitress is always hotter than any actresses and everything there because she's not thinking about herself. She's like busy doing stuff and attending to other people, and it's an attractive quality for me.
I love that answer.
I know.
That's
you.
a really good answer.
I agree.
And I feel like it's really, people need to hear that too, because
Yeah.
you can also be trained. Like,
Yeah.
no, it's true. Like, I think there's a lot of people, I've witnessed this because I'm sober and I'm in the program.
Yeah.
And I've witnessed a lot of people go from being completely self-centered to putting others first, doing acts
Right,
of service.
absolutely. Yeah, you're not.
Like, you can be trained
Yes.
out of it too.
Yeah, you can
know?
change. You can change.
People, you can change.
Yeah, that's our message.
I like that though. I'm sober too. I mean, it's only been
that's-
like 7 months, and I'm not in a but I decided to
Congratulations.
take a year off of drinking, and
Amazing.
it's been the greatest thing. And so I think a lot of things come with clarity.
It brings a lot of light into your life.
Yeah. It also, for me, it's the first time I've felt anxiety
Oh.
Yeah.
in my life. Now that, like, I don't have something to quell it.
Yep.
I go, oh shit. I never, like, I go to work events and I'm like, I'm fucking nervous.
Yeah.
I was never nervous, ever. And I was like, oh shit, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But to live in that,
It's the first 2 years of I have 13 years, but the
Oh, wow.
first
Congrats.
thank you. The first 2 years were the hardest years of my life
really,
because of that.
right.
Well, I was like, what is this feeling of being human?
And part of that's detoxing, right? Like, just some of it. I mean, not all of it, but like certainly in the initial part, I imagine those toxins persist for a while. Certainly in your brain, from everything, the research I've done, that's why I said a year. It takes a year to even start to clear all
That's
those
what I'm
toxins.
saying. It took me 2 years to feel human.
Okay.
You know?
Good to know.
I know. Not every, some people feel it right away, but I was like, what are these feelings I'm feeling of anxiety, like social anxiety, all of those things that I'd never felt before. Because I always had alcohol.
Yeah.
It's like a little, just even if it was like a little bit, you know?
Yeah. That's
So you
right
might be
where
a
I'm at.
little, you might be a little shaky for a minute.
Yeah. I don't like it, but I like it, I guess.
But it's learning how to operate a vehicle, right? It's like
True.
this human body. It's like the coolest part about for you, like 7 months, it's like I would have never learned how to operate my vehicle unless that was taken away. Because if I had that, it's like, okay, well, this makes me feel comfortable. You take that away, then you're like, what do I do to feel comfortable?
Yeah.
And then you hit all these other things. You start reaching for things that bring so much more into your life than a beverage.
Wow, yeah.
Right? You're like, oh, I'm learning about my brain chemistry and my sleep and my exercise. You're like, how do I operate this thing?
That's a very good point. Well said. Yeah, I think that's so crucial. And yeah, I'm loving it. It's just I'm noticing that, you know.
Is it the first time in your life that...
I never really thought I was a drunk.
Yeah.
Like I never really I didn't feel like I had an issue, and I didn't go to AA, or I didn't go, so, and all the alcohol's still in my house. I don't think I have that kind of addiction, but I definitely had an addiction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's probably my first time I've taken an extended break from drinking. I mean, I was probably typical like most, like maybe I went a week.
Mm-hmm.
After like a big party or something,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I went a week, but maybe I didn't sometimes. And and then I just started noticing like, wow, like I've had a drink every night this week, and maybe it was one, maybe it was two, but and I never got drunk,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm like, I think I need to see if I can stop.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then I stopped for, and it was just within that first week of sleeping better. And those rose-colored glasses you hear about were legit. Like my serotonin levels were resetting, and I was like, "Fuck, the world is amazing. Like, I never want to drink again." So but I guess it's the first time. I'm 54, so it was about time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom had stopped 2 years ago, and I was visiting her, and this was over a year ago now, and I was like, do you wish you'd have stopped 20 years ago? Because I'm 20 years younger. And she was like, yeah, absolutely. And I was like,
that's it. Doing it.
I will make that choice.
Wow.
It's a really powerful choice, because it leaves so much space for learning.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
So much space.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. This one, real drunk.
Horrible drunk.
She never drinks.
Yeah.
Never liked it. I was like, what is that?
I know.
So bizarre.
I know.
It's a blessing.
It's
annoying.
a super blessing.
It's not boring.
Is it me or you?
You.
The strangest reason you've broken up with someone?
Oh, the strangest reason.
Or funniest or weirdest or whatever.
I don't, the reason wasn't necessarily strange, but I remember when I moved to New York, I had been going to school at University of North Carolina, Wilmington. And
I love Wilmington.
Yeah, it's great. Well,
so cute.
It's overgrown now, but it's so beautiful there. And I had my first girlfriend, and so she moved to New York with me. Mm-hmm. And about 3 months in, I was like, oh no.
Oh no.
The oh no's.
And so I knew I was gonna, pull the plug on it, and I came back to my apartment, and she was waiting, and I was like, let's we were living in Gramercy Park on 3rd and 20th, and I was like, let's go walk to the river, the East River, pre-Giuliani, New York, where maybe a body floats by, And she's like, a walk to the East River. So you're breaking up with me, are you?
Yeah.
And I was like, let's just go for a walk. And on that walk,
you're like, hey.
Yeah. So the reason was, I just knew I was hitting this growth point in my life that as a new artist, finding my feet and all that, I was like, I just knew it wasn't right, and that I wanted my freedom.
Right.
I wanted the freedom to be up all night learning lines and not have, I don't know. And I don't know what it would have been with her. It may have been fine. But at that point, I was like, I'm sorry. And I had to call her dad.
Oh, no.
Because,
What?
they had moved. Well, we moved driven her up and moved all her stuff.
And
that's
asking for her hand.
Exactly. Can you take her hand back, please?
That's pretty amazing.
It's another good
This is all
movie.
part of that movie of the boys dying to get married. All the reverse.
That is so funny. Can you take her hand back? I don't want it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. On a more serious note, what is your perfect burrito?
Perfect burrito. It's got to have sour cream, shredded cheese, chicken, peppers, onions, kind of the standard flour tortilla.
It sounds like a fajita
I have
burrito.
all that stuff. I know it is. It is a fajita wrap.
I feel like it actually is
Yeah,
that.
That's funny because I was gonna say exactly like a fajita, But yeah.
But in burrito
Yeah.
form.
It sounds good.
How about you? What's your favorite?
I would go more steak.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Steak, rice, beans.
Ooh.
Yeah. No lettuce. Some cheese. Maybe
This is her favorite thing in the world, by the way.
Yeah.
maybe a little red sauce and melted cheese on top and a dollop of sour cream.
The maybe sounds like maybe shouldn't be in that sentence.
Yeah,
Like, you know
maybe.
exactly.
We need to
Guys,
get rid of
there's
the
no
maybe.
maybes.
Give the maybe back.
Shredded beef.
Ah, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't want chunks.
No chunks, not with the melted cheese and the sauce on it. It's shredded.
You don't want to chew too much.
No, I don't want to chew
Yeah.
too much.
You don't want to chew 32 times.
Right. You don't want to get the belt.
He's like, I got chewing trauma.
Yeah,
I don't fuck
exactly.
with
Like, I need to
steak.
swallow that shithole.
I wonder what happens if I was chewing 40 times a bite. Like, would that still have
Did you
been
get
bad?
it perfect every time?
I don't know. I know.
No, you got the belt.
I got the belt
Okay.
many times.
But you could really, if you had a movie and you were playing like a Navy SEAL or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, listen,
really.
let me show you how to
Let
eat
me
a
show
fucking
you
meal.
what a square meal is.
Yeah,
Square
I actually feel like
meal.
I need that a little bit because I
She overeats.
I overeat and I eat really fast. Like someone's coming to get it.
Yeah.
And like
yeah.
when you were saying that, I was like, I might need to do that.
Right.
I just want to
I think I might
What if someone rushes in and actually eats it?
Well, you should see my brother. Like, if you saw my brother, you'd be like, no wonder you eat
Yeah.
so fast. He's huge and like,
Oh my God, he's
I
always
was
stole
always
your
like,
food.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you eat like that.
I had to eat like that. Like,
Yeah, my brother was that way too.
Really?
Yeah.
take the pepperoni off your
You
pizza.
you take the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
Walk away. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Older siblings are assholes.
They are.
They can be.
Yeah, for sure. What can you say at the dinner table that you can also say in bed?
This is good. This is good.
I like how when you were answering, you was like lowered your hat.
know,
You were
right?
like, oh.
Yeah,
just got
to
good.
hide the embarrassment. There's so many things I could say. That's the one that comes
You're
immediately
free
to
to
mind.
say as many
Yeah, I
that
mean,
come
you
to
can
mind.
keep going, like, you know, it's a long dinner conversation.
Yeah, really.
It's a long dinner conversation.
That could be it too. This is going on and on and on.
I think I'm done.
Where's dessert?
I think I'm done.
I think I'm done. Yeah,
You know?
that's not sour
full.
cream.
Maybe sour cream.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, that's
I was
so
about to
good.
say a dirty joke. I'm gonna
Oh
move on.
man,
No.
Say it.
No, it's the moment passed. Just know that it was happening.
Damn it.
I know.
What are your age parameters around dating?
I don't know necessarily. I haven't dated a lot, to be honest. But I would.
He's like, I just get married.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Certainly with 23-year-old kids, I'm thinking they have to be at least, 20, 22. Like late 30s, to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
When you
So-
first said 23, I thought that was going to be your bottom.
Yeah, right.
You're like 23.
23.
That's crazy though if you think about it, because there are dudes that date,
Yeah.
23, 24, whatever, but to think your kids are that age.
I know. I don't
Right,
know how
that
they do
makes
it.
it
And I
different
know
when your
people who
kids-
do that. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
for
how
sure.
do you handle that?
Yeah.
I think there's a disconnect in the parent-child relationship somewhere
Maybe.
that
Right.
allows that to be possible.
Yeah.
I also think there's a tremendous amount of change that happens in your early 20s to mid 30s, early 30s, where it's like a very young woman, young man to a woman,
Yeah.
to a man. Like
Yeah.
that time period is crucial in growing and
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to connect,
Yeah.
right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Have you tried?
What? Growing?
23? Have you tried growing? You should try it.
No,
you
I've
tried
been stuck
connecting?
at 5'2"
Real
for
fun.
a long time. Oh no, is it?
No, it's you.
It's me?
Yep.
What is or would be your safe word?
Ooh. Harder. No.
I like it. Okay. We'll keep that.
What smells turn you on? What smells turn you off?
Bad breath ends me.
I
Ends me.
feel you on that.
Turns me on. I don't know. There's something about like the right perfume, and I don't know what
all
names
smell
they
related.
are and stuff. Yeah, there's, yeah,
But if you
He's like,
smell
I
it, you're
have
like,
it
oh, there it
written
goes
down.
again.
yeah.
He's like, panty dropper.
He's like, it's this one.
This one, imagine.
That'd be amazing.
That's got to be in the movie, because that would be a part of his mentality.
Yeah.
100%.
This
He's
is
like,
what
I
I
heard
see.
it.
This is
really-
what you smell like.
I've been dreaming this out my
Yeah.
whole
Dreaming
life.
this.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about this movie, you guys.
know.
I feel like we
It's
have it
good
all
stuff.
figured out. Thoughts on women making the first move?
I'm all for it. All for it. I'm very
Especially with
shy
that
for the
perfume.
most part, and
Really?
like
Are you?
especially in
You
those
don't seem
regards,
shy.
I never approach women. Like I find it extremely. I guess
So you
I
only get asked out and you don't ever approach women?
no. I mean, I will eventually, but
Yeah,
I'm not like
eventually.
I don't go to bars. I don't go like I
Right.
rarely eat out.
Right.
Like it just I don't find any of it comfortable in
Mm.
terms of like walking up to a stranger and being like, I think we should go on
Just
a
a
date.
random person you see, you're like,
So I don't know.
Hard.
that is hard.
That's hard.
Yeah. So I'm all for it. And it doesn't have to be, to me, it doesn't have to be that verbiage.
right.
I think a look, a smile from somebody is enough to go,
get the
okay, I'm not going
okay.
to fall flat on my face if I try and
Right.
get to know this person.
Right.
So it doesn't take them necessarily saying, hey, do you want to go out?
But if like,
But if there's something like, I really want to get to know you, or a look of like, I'm curious about you, and like, let's see if there's something more,
Right.
then.
you're like green light.
But I'm all down for like, I'm fortunate that my daughter's had one boyfriend her entire
oh,
you know,
really?
That's good.
dating life, and they're still together.
And you like him?
I do. I really like him. They've been together almost 5 years. Well, 5 years
Wow.
in September.
What?
Wow.
That
Yeah.
is a long
My son's been with his
time.
girlfriend 6 years.
What?
Yeah, his only
Wow.
girl he's ever been
That's
with.
I love
Impressive,
that.
yeah.
I know.
That's
I know.
really tender.
Yeah, they're better than I am.
Yeah.
They're like, we'll show you, Dad.
Yeah, they're like, let's show you how you
This
should.
is what it
Yeah.
looks like.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Like, just you can learn a thing or two.
Yeah.
Take a look this way. I remember when this is random, but like when I first started dating my husband, we met in school and we were doing this process. It was like a psychology process where they're like, talk about like what you want. And I remember he was there. I'd never spoken to him before. And I was like, he's kind of good looking. Do I be honest? Because like what I really wanted was a partner, but I felt like embarrassed
Oh,
saying
because
it
he
in
was
front
cute
of him.
and you didn't want to like,
Yeah, like be like, oh, I really want some, So
Yeah.
I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna say it. And like the girl was like, your job from now on is like when you go to the grocery store, when you go to Starbucks, when you go, smile. And I remember thinking that was the most terrifying thing
Interesting.
someone
yeah.
could tell me to do. But when you were speaking, I was like, that's exactly it. Do you know how many women might not they wouldn't even know you would be open to them,
Yeah.
but they're closing it off by not looking at someone and just smiling,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
do you smile at strangers?
never. I'm just kidding.
Right, but
Yeah.
it sounds
Yeah.
easy, but it's not,
Yeah.
is it?
No, I think it's, there is, attraction is key, but
Yeah.
to try and define it is not necessarily easy. And some people it's a visual thing, some it's a heart, it's
Right.
something in somebody's eyes or in their mind, that you're picking up or so but it takes that certain connection even in that moment to get to the next step.
Right.
And
Right.
so, yeah, I don't think you should go around smiling randomly at everybody because it
No,
could
but
get
if
you
you-
in trouble. But I think if you
Like,
feel something that's like,
right.
Yeah.
then it would only come naturally, I would think.
No,
No, it doesn't.
What?
Okay.
So let's
Good to know because
It doesn't. So like if I was at Starbucks and I was single, right?
Yeah.
And an attractive guy walked by me, I would
She
never
would flash him.
I would get nervous. I wouldn't like smile and like
Yeah, yeah.
I do now
you do
because
the
I'm
opposite. Like we walk in the
because
opposite
I'm married, I
direction.
feel like I'm safe.
Yeah.
Like I feel
yeah.
like I can smile at people, be kind, and they're not gonna want something.
Yeah.
Right? So a girl, I think it makes them feel uncomfortable to do that.
And what if a guy comes in and smiles at you?
That's great. You smile back.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, oh, okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
But like, I would say if you saw someone that you find attractive and they don't smile, it doesn't mean that they're not open to you. It just could mean that they're a girl.
Right. I mean, it's honestly,
do you understand what I'm saying?
I kind of get it as a dad, I think, in that, like, I mean, I think, like, it must be difficult because every dude, would come in and want to smile at you guys and, like, hit on you and all that stuff. So there's got to be a wall that goes up at some point where you're like, I can't just be
what
free.
I was going to say is, like, it obviously depends on the
I'm talking Starbucks. I'm talking grocery store.
That's what I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm talking Whole
Not
Foods.
where it's an environment that's like, it's not a house party or like a friend's gathering or something. It's
well,
like,
I was going to say it depends on who's smiling at you.
right, or the vibe of that person.
Yeah, like you're like, but you're saying like, oh, if like a dude just smiles, you know what I mean?
I think what the person was saying was open yourself up.
Just being open.
That nobody's going to come talk to you if you're so closed off and you're not smiling and giving any sort of indication that you're open.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's why
I'm just always open, so I don't get
that. I'm just always open. Wide open. No, it's just interesting.
Where's your favorite Starbucks?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you my order.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think, but it's what I always go back to is because, like, I find myself a very open person in general, but what we were talking about before with, like, the love with your kids and whatever. So if you're not, like, feeling the need to fill that.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just kind of walking around to every Starbucks oblivious.
Yeah.
You're not
I just go through the drive-through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She doesn't even get out of the car.
But I think that's exactly what she was saying, though. The teacher was saying is that, yes, we get caught in our routines, in our minds. We get caught. We get blocked.
Right.
And, the simple act of smile or staying open to being able to smile is through a way through that.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
can lead to things that could lead to what you want.
Right.
Which got me marriage. So
you just smiled at Jeff and that's what did it.
So then, right after I was like, no, but I will say the act of starting to do it and remind myself to open and to soften made me open to him.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not about meeting the guy at Starbucks. It's
no, it's just about meeting the guy at Starbucks.
Yeah.
No, it's about like if you want that, you have to be open. You have to be a little open.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I think that goes for everything in life. I think it really pays off just to be open.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Wide
we're in
open.
that. Yeah, exactly. Wide open. I can't wait to make this movie.
It's gonna be a good movie.
We're really onto something huge.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You're going down for a murder you didn't commit. You have the chance to frame someone to get out of it. Who do you frame?
Probably the critic from Variety. No. Yeah, man. I could pin it on my dad and not like bat an eyelid.
I was like, I feel like I can answer this for you after this conversation.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I must have picked that up.
I think you did.
Yeah.
I think I was smiling, and in that smile, you were open.
I knew. Wide open. I was
wide open. You felt it.
So good. Do you want to tell us anything about your show?
It's a phenomenal story. It's a lot of Giancarlo Esposito plays a man who, it's all set in New Orleans, who had lost, his son was murdered a year prior to the story starting at 19 years old. And he's got a daughter and a wife, and but everything's falling apart in the grief. His business is failing. He owns like a black car limousine service. It's like 6 cars, and but it's going bankrupt. Can't get a loan. Everything's just withering under the guilt and the grief of the loss of his son, as it would. Oof. And he has a lot of personal guilt as to, having driven his son out of the house, and and his, you find out his ex-partner in crime shows back up, needing his help, and you learn that they had done crimes together for years. And this dude went away for the crimes they did and never ratted him out. Spent 17 years in the toughest prison in the U.S.,
wow.
Angola, Louisiana State Pen, and needs his help to stay alive. And he winds up helping him, and shit goes bad.
This is dark.
Yeah.
It's dark. And
Wait, are you the dude that was
I'm
in
the guy
jail?
who comes back. Yeah.
I just
and
figured.
He's this Cajun, crazy Cajun. Which is a
you got an
blast of
accent.
an accent to do.
Yeah, how'd you learn that?
I had done a film with Lawrence Fishburne like 5 years ago when Quibi was, trying to make films, and Antoine Fuqua produced it and was directing it. And then a couple weeks before we started, he handed it over to this incredible director named Seth Mann, but he was sort of there to foster it. And it was set in New Orleans, and in the way the story was, that character wasn't written Cajun, but in our conversations about it, I played this sheriff who, his partner gets killed by this guy, and he's out to get him back and to kill him. And so I wanted it to feel like this street war. And the way to do that was that it felt like this guy was, deep in New Orleans. So I said, how about doing the accent? And he was like, yeah, absolutely, if you can do it right. And so I, worked on it. And then they wisely gave me a driver who was Cajun. And so I got to, every morning on the way, I'd run shit by him, and just soak it up and all this. So I had a beat on it prior. And then this one, I was really interested in it, the Cajun, but also mixing it with, Angola's 90% black population. So, how did he survive, and who did he pretend to be, and how did he work? So I was sort of trying to blend this feel and sound. It's a blast to do. The thing for me was, I had heard when I read it, I tend to hear scripts musically, and I heard like Giancarlo's character has all these bass notes. He's in the grief and the depression and all that. He's really low and, barely a whisper. And I knew, or I felt instinctually, that we needed something staccato to move the story. So he could sit in that. But then when we move, and then we get to sit, and then so it just sort of really worked, and to the point that we went to do the camera tests. I had auditioned for it with my daughter, made tape in my kitchen, got the part, go to New Orleans. I think it was a couple months later. And Giancarlo and I rehearsed quite a bit, and go over stuff. And then we go to do the camera test. It's like a couple weeks in. And he's like, I got to tell you, you die in the 6th episode.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh. All right, it's only 6 episodes for the first season, so I was like, well, I love what I'm playing. I love what Well, 2 weeks in, the electricity between us was so vibrant. He came up to me. He's like, Aaron Paul was supposed to die in the 6th episode of Breaking Bad.
No way.
He's like, you got the writers rewriting.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
that's amazing.
It went from this thing to this thing.
Yeah.
And the chemistry between us was just so natural and immediate. And for me, it just came out of hearing the rhythms.
That's dope.
But for whatever reason, like, it just flew off the page, and it's hard not to notice.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it was just such an incredible experience, and the piece is so amazing. And I had never done stuff other than, like, I did a Spielberg miniseries for TNT, but I never really done anything out of those major networks, which are so frustrating in their formulas and all that shit. And to get to do this was just so freeing, and it's an incredible story, and it's he's such an incredible performer and so visceral and real, and it's just it's a really top-notch story with incredible storytellers. Bradley Whitford's in it. Like, I mean, there's just Paula Malcolmson plays his wife, and
so cool.
I mean, it just went on, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? But like, you know, we made it work.
You know what you're doing.
I do know
what you're doing there.
I've been at it long enough.
Yeah,
but
it's yours.
But I mean, it's weird. You sort of make these things, and I get so lost in it while we're doing it that I forget people are even going to see it. So I never really think results, you know? I never think of that end thing. And now, I realize that the television landscape is weird. We were at the upfronts last week, and, even AMC is announcing to their buyers how, these time-shifted viewings, like not everybody's watching in the way that people used to watch. And this is not news, but, they're really showing them that they understand, and showing us that they understand that, numbers aren't going to be like, I had Jericho when we premiered, we had 14 million viewers.
Yeah.
That's bananas.
You can't get that nowadays.
No, because people are so distracted and watching a million different things. There's
streaming
so many
and
things.
this and the that.
Yeah.
It's totally different.
So, I guess I learned early on to forget results in terms of that side of it. You never know what it's going to be. You can't predict it. Yeah. I guess if you're in a Marvel tentpole, well, now that's even questionable.
You never know.
But
you
2 years ago, if you were in a Marvel tentpole, you knew you're set.
Yeah.
And, but for the most part, it's such a nebulous business, and it's so hard to know that you really only live by those days on set and enjoying your job.
Yeah.
Because if you're enjoying this part and not that part, you're never going to get to this part.
Right.
No.
Right.
And you're not going to enjoy it when you do. Because you just don't know how to be present.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Anytime, no matter what anyone does, it's the same thing. If you're missing the forest through the trees, you're going to be miserable.
Yeah, it's exactly it. And so I don't know. I love it. I hope we get to do more, just because I love working with him, and I think it's the character's so interesting. I also play his twin brother, which is a lot of fun. I mean, it's one scene in the first 6, but like there's, there could be a lot more, which would be a lot of fun to delve into.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's cool doing scenes with yourself.
You're like, I am the best scene partner I've ever had.
Yeah, really. Well,
I'm really generous as an actor.
Well, my point is that, like, I can decide, like, if I'm acting with you and I do that, who knows what the fuck you're gonna react to?
Smile.
Right. Yeah. But if I'm playing the opposite, I can make this mean anything.
Right.
And so you're able to build this dynamic that you're in control of both sides of it. And
I like it.
Really
That'd be so fun.
Yeah, it's
that
a lot
sounds
of
like
fun.
a lot of fun.
But you have to explain it. That's the hard part. You have to go to the director, like, well, when this character does this guy's going to go this, and you wind up like looking like you're hand puppeting. But
which you are.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. But it's such a fun show, and it's so much. I love that character, and it was it was one of the first times I just let myself go. I didn't go in a makeup trailer or hair trailer. I have natural afro, and like,
natural? That's not. That was not a perm.
No,
that was not a perm.
That's your natural hair.
My natural hair. Get out of bed.
Good for you.
Oh my God, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was like, I felt this guy's spirit and energy, and I was like, that's what I want to bring forward.
Yeah.
And the guy lives on a boat with no electricity or shower. He's been in the pen for 17 years. Any kind of vanity felt wrong, No,
I love that you did that.
Well, and it also doesn't look like you, which I think probably gives you more permission.
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
You can disassociate and just be like, this isn't even.
Yeah, I got to lead with spirit, and it was like, it was something that the creator had brought up before I was hired, like I sent him my tapes, whatever, and then I had a Zoom call with him and the showrunner, and he was like, he's like, it just gives me so many ideas where to go, like I'm starting to like piece in when you did this moment, that maybe this and blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, I really feel like this guy could walk through any parish in New Orleans, no matter which one, the Ninth Ward, whatever, and high five people walking down the street. And I was like, oh,
Like, I got it.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like that. And so I sort of went with that, and it just became this energy. And I mean, I love my job. I show up, I never bring I know my shit, and I've always been that way. And I bring so much gratitude to the crew. I bring them masseuses twice a month. I take care of them. I'm into their part of the art. And I learned this from very early on from a lot of great directors. I've had the benefit of working with 5 Oscar winners, and the way they, collaborate really set in my mind early on. And so that, I bring a lot of fun to the set and a lot of energy, regardless of, the darkness of the story or whatever. I'm not method in that way. I can get into the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't need to make this whole, 80 people miserable around me for me to play it.
God.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
Talk about
it's just so much fun. Yeah.
But it's important. I think that so many people forget that it takes 1 million people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I'm very aware of it.
No,
And it's,
yeah.
but yes, a lot of people do, and it gets very narcissistic and, but I have to say, maybe minus 2 or 3 people in, I don't know how many credits I have, everybody has been so lovely and open. And I mean, we're in a profession full of open-hearted, smart, artistic, caring artists. And it's a blessing.
Yeah.
Most of the world's not like that.
No.
Right.
And yes, there are your cutthroat business people, that are they're great now, but you show up at the premiere and it's a competition
For
or
sure.
whatever,
But I
guess
attribute it to you because I don't think it's happenstance. Because I think that there's like alternate realities, right? Like I think there's a lot of sets where that's not the case.
Yeah,
but
there are.
I do think that it's whatever frequency that you're choosing to live on and live by, then you call in people on that frequency.
Yeah,
right?
that's a good point.
And so if people are continuing to be miserable in their jobs, in their workspace, in their, like, what is it that they can do to get into the frequency where they're going to have a different experience? Because I know there's a whole other culture in different sets, you know, that experience different things. So I do attribute that to you. There's something you're living by that's bringing that into
just the joy of doing it, to be honest. I love it so much. I just love it. And it's, and I love that traveling circus feel.
Yeah.
That there are people who leave their families behind to put props on the table, and all this. And I love that they've spent their days and hours thinking about where that stuff goes, and that and everybody's sort of a part of telling this story.
Yeah.
There's nothing better in my mind. I mean, for me, that's just where I thrive. 100%. So this year and a half, I said, man, I'm like,
blessing.
I can't wait till I'm dying to get back to it.
Yeah.
I love my hobbies. I love my life. I love my family, but I love my job. Like, I just love it. And it shows. People get infected by it, and it changes the environment, and it does become a collective telling a story. And there's nothing better. I've always felt like they're our first eyes as performers. And if they're not invested, now granted, some people got shit to do during takes to get ready for the next thing you're about to do. So I'm not expecting complete attention at all times. But
that would be weird if you're like, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be weird. But when you have those scenes and people are present for it, you can tell whether you have something or not. And I don't mean individually, but I mean as a story. And it's a powerful thing, to include them in that process and to count their emotions during it as valid.
Right.
Yeah.
if they go, you're like, all right, what's not real about it?
Right.
What is it to you that's, not real
Do you
about
see
it?
people doing that?
No, but I just mean as an example, like if that were to happen, I mean, I've certainly had conversations where, somebody it won't be that obvious but, a sound mixer or something will say, I don't know, like this or this or this. And you go, oh, or you go, well, the reason is this and this and this.
Right.
Not just, fuck off. You don't have you're not in the scene with me. What do you fucking care?
Right.
But it's also probably how you guys as the actors, I think that has a lot to do with how you treat people too. Because
for sure,
if they've got dicks on set, they're not going to stop and watch the scene. They're going to be like, I've got work to do.
Yeah.
Fuck them and move on.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
But like when you have their attention, you're treating them right too.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. But I just think it's you treating everyone, like it's just like you said, like it's everybody a part of it.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'll always be like, I gotta change really quick so they can go and like get the clothes and then put it back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, no, you don't have to take my makeup off. You go home. I'm gonna leave. I'll do it. Hold the umbrella for you. I will take your makeup off.
My jacket.
Yeah. I not only hang I hang my clothes and I rebag them for them.
Yeah.
That's so nice. Yeah. I always like, I just think it just goes to show character and you guys are all supporting each other.
Yeah.
And I would never just leave my clothes like on the, and you're that way too. It's like, no, I'll put them back exactly how they came. It's just a thing of respect. And you guys are all doing this together. You're in it together. So no one's here. No one, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You're all here. And so.
And I do hold to, the idea that the act, there needs to be a safe space for the actors to do their job.
Mm-hmm.
So there are, requirements to that. And, but I'm able to put myself in a position where I can say, like, this is our time.
Mm-hmm.
Just give us the space, and people will respect it, you know. So there's a give and take to it. And I remind, young actors on Riverdale, there were a lot of young actors who, were very into that idea of like, I don't know how I can complain. Transpo was, here an hour after me moving this and that. And I'm like, but they didn't go home and spend 2 hours learning lines. They went home and tuned out. And they don't have to do anything, they're in their truck right now sleeping while we're working. So don't get too lost in that. We're all busting our ass, but you're also busting your ass.
Right.
And don't negate it because we do go home and do homework.
Mm-hmm. And there's, you know what I realized? There's reasons for it. So I did something recently. I hadn't acted in a long time, and I did a movie. And they were like, no, you go ahead and eat first and this and that. And I was like, no, let them all go. Let everybody go. I don't need to be treated like, you don't need to do that. Blah, blah, blah. And then the director or someone came up to me and he was like, no, Olivia, you have to go first because we need to get back for the shot.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm not being treated special. Do you know what I mean?
I'm just needed next.
Yeah. Like I thought everyone was like treating, and I was like, that's gross. Like, don't treat me like that. Like, it made me really uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And they were like,
no, they were like, you have to.
They were like, no, because we need you back faster. And I was like, oh, okay. But when you get like practical with it, you're like, oh, there's a reason they're doing all of that for you. It's not because you're special.
Yeah.
It's not because the actor is number one. It's because they need to do it because they need you in the shot fast.
Yeah. There's in the 90s there, and I see it a little bit now, but there were these old school producers who, and I know it still exists, but it's less so, but that took care of actors in a way that knew that we had something to do that was special and that was different than anybody else's job. And so it wasn't a matter of like, I only want green Skittles or this and that, but like they made sure everything that you needed as a human being was within reach so you could focus.
So they could get what they need from you.
Well, so they could get what they need. But I relate it to like, would you take a football team to the Super Bowl and then completely ignore those guys and not let them get the sleep they needed, not let them get the food they needed, not, but these producers understood that you're about to step on stage and I need you to be how you need to be.
Right. Exactly.
And it's there's there's a lot now that is almost a mill about, things that gets problematic because it doesn't give the performers the chance to excel. And if we don't excel,
You don't get
it's gone. It's all gone.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you have to give us that space to do it. Now, that can all be done in the environment I explained of everybody enjoying their job and
Green
working
Skittles.
together and green Skittles and the whole thing. So it's a nice blend when you hit it, when everybody respects each other's positions and jobs and needs, and they're met.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's the important part is realizing that it's for the storytelling. They're doing these things because they need the best version to tell the best story versus we're doing this
whimsical
to make your ego bigger or to make you feel a certain way. It's important for people to note, I am being of service and this is how I'll be of ultimate service with all these kind of things.
Yeah, it's exactly it.
Moving around me.
Yeah.
I think we really have everything figured out now, personally.
Yeah, we've got we're going to make
personally,
a movie.
We have the
professionally.
movie. I mean, professionally.
Got our Starbucks attitude set.
Starbucks attitude set. Olivia knows she can eat first when she works. I mean, really, we just kind of
What
covered
else is there to go
everything.
through?
Most
We know what
importantly,
works
life.
at the dinner table and in the bedroom.
Also key, very important information.
Yeah.
Listen, we have everyone set up for success now. So
Perfect.
I feel good.
Yeah, good.
Go out there and do it, people.
Yeah,
Do it.
exactly.
Do it.
You're
Green
welcome.
Skittles for everyone.
You can send your donations to Broad Ideas.
There
Care
you go.
of.
Yeah, and everyone can watch Parish. And what streaming services?
It's on AMC.
I mean, it's on
AMC and AMC Plus.
I knew that.
Yeah, and they're 3 of them have come out. They're doing every week, so
That's so fun.
yeah,
It's awesome.
I
Dark,
did know
gritty,
it was AMC.
thrilling.
it's gritty. It's definitely
You did.
gritty.
I did. It's my
Yeah.
brain. It doesn't
okay.
work all the time.
It's okay. There's only 1 million streamers out there, or
Just
networks
so many
and stuff out
things, and
there,
everyone, yeah.
And a million thoughts floating. And
I have a lot of things happening up here. Oh my God. Well, this was so much fun.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was a blast. I appreciate it.
So
Appreciate your
fascinating.
time.
So much fun.
We went from kidnapping heart surgery to toasted squirrels. I mean, we really
We ran the gamut.
gamut of, yes,
We really did.
exactly.
Ding ding.
Yeah.
Yep. And your show, Parish. Everyone should watch it.
Check it out.
AMC.
Yeah. Ding.
ASAP.
TM coming to me.
Wow.
We'll just keep going.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, we really need to stop. Guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
We're here still.
Still here.
Still here. I have a question for you guys.
I have an answer.
I have a very important question. When you see a penny on the ground,
That's fucking weird.
why
Go ahead.
do you pick it up? Wait, there's more to my question. I was going to ask, do you pick it up? And there's a follow-up.
It's
But
I saw a penny this morning.
no, why? Tell me.
No, go ahead.
Well,
Because yesterday, I saw a penny on the floor of my house and I almost ignored it. And I was like, who cares? It's a penny. I don't need to pick that up. And then I went, find a penny, pick it up, and then all day you'll have good luck. And I haven't.
you nailed that.
Well, she was saying it different than how it's said. It's just how I say it. And so I got flubbed.
So, but that was the first time in many years that I've gone through that whole thing. And then you
How
asked the
weird.
next day.
That is weird. Did you pick it up?
I sure did. And I carried it with me all day yesterday. It was in my pocket all
Yeah.
day. That's why I'm
See
saying
a penny,
it's weird.
pick it up all day long. You'll have good luck. Now, my next follow-up, I take it a step further. Do you always, and I always do this, look at the year?
I've never
I
done
look
that.
at, look at the year.
You do.
You do? Why? What does that do for you?
I just want to see, does if
some
the
history
year
behind it.
have
'Cause from,
significance? or
1905. It's cool. It's a
I
penny.
got targeted for an app, like a coin app. So when you find a coin, even if it's not 1905, it could be 2005. Some of them are worth thousands of dollars.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Or $100.
Are you
No,
going to
it
be a
varies.
coin collector?
I think I might be a coin collector.
I
I'm
like
serious
it.
though, because I always look at the year. Always. I can't, you never look at the
I've
year?
never once looked at the year.
That is crazy.
I didn't know I could make money. Now I'm gonna look
don't
at
No,
the year.
I don't do it
I don't
because I'm
look at it
making
for
money.
money
I don't look at it for money. I don't
Yeah,
look
but
at
if
it for
it's
money.
like your birth year, then like,
Yes, if it's your
cool.
birth year, it's like, oh, even more lucky. Or like, oh, does this have significance to me? It's more in like the sign of it, not in the money of it. But then I got targeted for this app and I was like, maybe there is money in it. So this is a new revelation. But yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I was
She's
really
not.
excited about the app though.
Because you got targeted. Should I share my theory?
Wait, did you guys?
Oh, she has a theory. What?
What do you mean what?
What?
Remember when quarter you were like,
He
oh,
said you
what?
guys, and you said what?
And that was
No, you go, oh, what? Like,
Oh, you what?
you said it.
You again.
Do you remember when the quarters were coming out and they had the different states on the back? Did you collect?
Yes.
Did you collect all the states?
I didn't, but I did notice. Like I would look to see what state it was.
Okay.
You
I would
guys
clock
fucking
it.
coin collectors? This is
No,
how
there was
you
like a
know.
period in time where
It's like
they were
details.
changing the quarter
Details in life.
and every state had its own quarter. My dad was collecting them for
Or
us.
did he get them all?
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
But
I have
It's cool.
jars of like old coins if you want to just like touch them.
I want the app.
yeah.
I have like Michael Egler
Yeah.
brought me big things of like old coins.
Dude, you might be sleeping on some serious money.
I have a friend that's just started drawing for the mint. So he's like designing coins
That's cool.
for
That's cool.
the U.S. Treasury.
What is he coming up with?
They have like usually commemorative coins that are coming out. So they've got like a handful of artists that'll draw and then they pick
Oh.
from that.
Do you think he could draw us a coin with broad ideas and our faces on it?
If we paid him, I'm sure he would.
I don't want to pay him because I don't want to pay him.
No, okay.
Guys, can we just bring up the Taco Bell thing again?
I would
Yeah,
love to. What
Rob didn't let me finish my order.
You didn't let her finish her order.
are you talking about?
I said
You
bean
guys-
and cheese burrito, no onions, extra red sauce. That's not where it stops. That's where it
That's where it
starts,
begins.
Okay? Because there's also a crunchy taco with mild sauce and then nachos.
You didn't let her finish her
And
whole
sometimes
order.
a Mexican pizza and sometimes a tostada.
I feel like you guys went off on tangents when we were talking about it, and I had to bring the conversation
That's
back
probably
to
true.
what are you ordering? Because we've spent 3 minutes and neither one of you have actually said your order.
We probably went into detail about like the sauce.
People really felt
Responded.
seen in that.
They really responded to the Taco Bell clip.
I just saw a scary movie the other day,
What was it?
The Strangers.
The prequel.
Oh, you went to AMC to see that, right?
You're so stupid.
the prequel,
It was
right?
at the Regal.
I loved
I was
the.
freaking screaming out loud.
I loved the original. The original was really creepy.
Yeah. It's so creepy, you guys.
How's the music in the new one? Because
The
the
music, I don't
original,
remember.
in the original one, they play like Joanna Newsom
Oh, really?
on vinyl, like
Oh, that's
Oh, yeah,
cool.
they played a
super
lot
creepy.
of dope stuff on vinyl.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really scary. It was a lot. It was torture, to be honest. I was like, why are we doing this to ourselves? Because there's so much
Was it a full theater too?
full theater. So there was a lot of jump scares and a lot of like, there's one coming,
scares.
there's one coming. And then it wouldn't come and you'd be like, we would audibly be like, the whole audience would be like, oh.
Were there any weird screamers?
Weird screamers.
There was when I saw. Well, you can answer first before.
No, not that. No, I didn't hear any weird. I saw some like real grown men being like, "Oh fuck!" like that.
I remember seeing Pan's Labyrinth in a full theater on opening weekend, and there was a man that like screamed hysterically every time he got startled, like this high pitched like freak out, and it just made everyone laugh every time something scary happened because he would get so scared.
Oh my gosh.
Do you start getting scared in the theater? Like I start not trusting the people around me. I'm like, I don't know about you. Like, are you gonna?
My fear in theaters is putting my head on the back of the chair.
Yeah, I feel like it's less scary in a theater.
Oh, I feel like it's
For me.
more scary in a theater because I start to not trust the people. Like
Yeah.
someone's gonna act like a creep and do something really
I don't really go through.
Weird.
My favorite was one of my exes would get
Which
so
ex?
Which
Which
one?
ex?
Which
scared.
ex?
Which ex?
Which ex?
I'm not going to out him. He would get so scared. Like, remember the movie? Was it called like The Cave or something? Whatever. It's like spelunking. It's super scary.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And like every time, like when there was the jump scare, like he would scream so loud. And it was my favorite. So I used to always hide in the house when they would come walking and jump out.
Really?
Scare him? Yeah.
Natalie hates when I do that to her.
Yeah, I would
You
do it all
do
the
that.
time.
To us.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
too,
he
guys.
does. We
I
don't
did to our
trust
nanny
Rob.
once or twice too.
What'd you say?
I did it to our nanny once or twice too.
I like that.
That's amazing.
That's funny. I'm just trying to picture Jeff doing that to our nanny, and that's really funny.
Well, it's because we have very little interaction too. So the
So you just
the only
so
time
much
is
more
me.
awkward.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. I love it. That's really funny.
One time was on accident, and she like fully lost it.
I hope she wasn't holding Vincent.
No.
Oh, it's really good though to do a jump scare. Like it's like one of my favorite things
Oh
to
my
do
god, it's so
to
scary.
people I date.
What is your
them?
favorite scary movie?
I don't know. I can't even think. You'd have to like tell me some because my brain doesn't retain.
Hereditary.
No.
Midsummer.
No, never seen it.
Midsummer's good. It's
No,
less
more
scary, but more
classic.
creepy.
No, this is more like jump
horror
scare,
genre,
horror,
like
yeah.
jump scares.
So just your 90s era.
I don't remember anything past the 90s.
That's what
Yeah.
I mean. It's
I don't even remember Scream, to be honest.
what
Here's
was,
what I love about Scream. I like the ones
It's
that
just
have.
like these two best friends that are actually the murderers. Is that right?
spoiler alert.
I know.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
Well, he's not on promoting Scream.
Skeet is the killer, right?
He's the main killer?
I think.
I know he's the killer.
It's been a long time.
He's a killer.
He's a killer.
I feel like Matthew
Yeah.
Lillard and him are like
Yes.
killers. I sound so stupid.
a little bit.
Well, it's not stupid. It's just you don't remember.
I just don't. I do know.
yeah, I mean, the
I've
fact that
seen
you don't remember the
pictures.
plot and characters of Scream, you sound
You
real
sound
stupid.
so stupid. Like what?
Did you guys see It Follows?
No.
No,
That
I
one
read
is creepy.
it. When I
You
was
should read
young.
It Follows. Or you should watch It Follows.
I don't remember any scare. I can't think of any right now.
That one
Pet
is
Sematary.
Oh my God, that one fucked me up as a kid.
It.
Fucked me
It,
up.
it
That
is
messed me up, too.
So
Pet
bad.
Cemetery was brutal.
I didn't like bathroom drains for a while after It.
Oof.
Because I watched it really.
It, like the clown, it?
yeah,
Yeah.
I watched
Yeah.
it really young. It was on TV.
So scary.
It's terrifying.
And I didn't see the end of it ever.
I loved scary movies like Sleeping with the Enemy. Sorry, I just had to say that.
That's like a thriller.
Yeah.
That's not a scary movie.
That doesn't count.
That's a thriller.
Okay.
She's like, I love
love
scary
Die
movies
Hard.
like Pretty Woman,
Independence Day.
Yeah.
Armageddon.
No, It Follows. I think the premise of that is
Wait, is that an it?
no,
Yeah.
no. It's unrelated.
Oh, it's
It's just this, like,
unrelated.
Creepy entity follows you and tries to kill you, and
Ugh.
until you sleep with someone else, and then it
What?
passes
Oh,
it
and
on
then
to
it
them.
passes.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I know that one.
But it's just
Yeah.
like you can go far away, and it's just gonna come to you slowly, but it'll eventually get to you.
Children of the Corn.
No, couldn't do
Yep,
it.
remember that one?
I
Yeah.
can't do those like really
Stephen
scary
King ones.
The Stephen King ones are so fucked up.
You
Love.
do It Follows
No, I won't be able
and
to
Talk
sleep.
to Me. Both of those are pretty fucked.
No,
wanna see 'em.
I don't want to do that. It really will mess with me.
I mean, yeah, those four. You should do
Let's
Hereditary.
pivot a little.
Wait. You should do Hereditary.
No,
Talk to Me.
no,
It Follows.
No.
And Midsummer.
no.
Will you watch
Midsommar,
all
I
those
might.
by the next post?
By the next
By the next post. She'll watch 'em.
I'll
That's-
watch them.
Can we
That's
just
next.
pivot really quick to 90s, like stay in theme with 90s instead of genre really quick?
Go for it.
Well, we started with like
it's your-
fear.
It's your world. We're just living in it, Rachel.
Great.
You're the main character.
Oh, you missed that story. She'll tell it to you later. Do you even know movies from the 90s, Rob?
No, they made movies in the 90s.
1990.
What do you go to, like in that era?
Ooh,
Like
movies.
Scream, Fear, like that vibe. That was
Well,
like around the same time, I feel like.
Scream, Fear,
Reality
Romeo and
Bites.
Juliet, like
Romeo
Leo
and Michelle's high
Romeo
school
and Michelle.
reunion.
Well, yeah, but was that high school?
I think that's 80s.
No,
That's
it was
not
not.
80s. That's 90s.
90s. Like, you know, because I'm just trying to think of in high school what was really big. Like
Clueless.
Clueless.
It was 97.
What was 97?
Romeo and Michelle.
Yeah. 90s. Not 80s, Rob.
What else? I said Clueless.
Oh my God.
Oh, I'm trying to think.
Like, we were obsessed in high school with Fear and Romeo and Juliet for sure. Scream.
Independence Day, Apollo 13, Deep Impact, Armageddon.
We get it. She's
like,
Volcano,
I'm out.
Dante's Peak, Titanic.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so many
All
good
relevant.
movies.
Titanic was super relevant in high school.
I think that was
6
the first time I saw boobs on the movie.
Are there boobs in Almost Famous? I mean, I was going.
That's a good one too.
I was going there in my head to
that's
say
the
that was also
2000s?
one, but that was I think that was early 2000s. But I saw it so many times in the theater. Sorry, Titanic. Are there boobs?
Yeah, when he draws
Kate
her.
Winslet's. Oh, yeah.
Oh, they're just
Are they
drawn
hers?
boobs?
Yeah.
You didn't see your mom's?
But wait, that's
I mean,
hold on.
First of all, I said this is the
Your
first one I've
first
seen on
boob-
screen.
Your first boob sighting was a
On
drawn
screen.
boob, so it wasn't even a real
she's-
boob.
It's her real boobs in the movie.
Oh, she shows her real boobs in the
Yeah.
movie? Do you remember that? I don't remember that.
I do.
Oh, well, clearly.
1997, so I was
He's like, I
9 years
do.
old.
You were
right?
Briar's age.
Who was your first crush?
Oh, yeah. Like celebrity.
Yeah. not
We don't
Tammy
care.
from.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't
feel
know.
like he's gonna. It's like some like indie like.
No,
No,
but like,
not
who
when
was
I
your
was, like,
first
10.
crush
Yeah,
as
who was
a
your
kid?
first crush? Like Anna Chumsley from My Girl,
Yeah, maybe.
Oh,
like that.
No,
so cute.
So cute.
I don't know. I don't recall.
You don't? Who was your first crush?
Patrick Swayze.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I loved Edward Furlong in Terminator 2.
Oh, I did too. Who didn't?
Obsessed. Johnny Depp.
Yep.
Obviously.
For mine was probably like the Pink Power Ranger.
Yeah, that sounds right.
You never went hard for Leo.
Never.
I don't understand
He
that.
never. I know.
I used to cry tears over him when
Yeah.
I'd go to sleep at night.
Yeah,
Literal tears coming out of my face.
that's a lot.
It
It's a lot,
hurt.
Olivia.
It's true. I did.
No, I never was like hardcore Leo.
I don't get that with his face.
I know, but who else was there that at that time in that age bracket that I would have been? I can't remember now.
What about New Kids on the Block? Did
So
you?
I was so like everyone was obsessed, and I was like, I'm not gonna be obsessed with them. But like secretly, I remember sitting in my best friend's staircase and being like, Joey, just so you know, I'm your number one fan.
Oh,
Joey Fatone.
No, from New Kids on the Block. I'm your popsicle, or you're my
love them.
popsicle.
and then there was a point where you had to pretend you didn't like him anymore.
Of course.
Yeah. Just like I had to
Tragic.
pretend I didn't play with Barbies anymore. Because
She still does.
I like a Barbie.
She loves miniature things.
I do little mini things.
I liked little figurines too. I had a bunch of
Like
the
Casper? Are you building
No,
them?
not like that. Like the wrestling figures. I had a bunch of those.
Oh, yeah.
And then my mom gave them away.
Oh, no.
That's sad.
That'd be
That's
very sad.
tragic.
You
You guys, I feel really good about this.
do?
Yeah.
What do you feel good about?
Just the things we've talked about.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, I'm glad you finally like our show.
Yeah. It feels like you just arrived.
I did.
Well, that was Skeet.
That was Skeet.
Was
Did you have fun?
Was it? We
I
always
had a
have
great
fun.
Had a
time.
good time?
Yeah. You know, we meet a lot
He's
of really
awesome.
nice people that come in and they're ready and willing and present and open.
We are very lucky. We haven't had a single
Knock on wood.
diva except for Rob.
Just Rob. Bye.